Oh, that's what he does.
It's not Wolverine, man. It's not a growl. Go, not, oh. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Watching Sundays. This week, we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to be fulfilling some of our fantasies. This is in response to, obviously, Marvel or Disney acquiring Fox and their properties.
Oh, so excited. So excited.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have this deep desire and wish for X-Men.
Yeah, absolutely. When they made the deal with Sony to take Spider-Man into the Avengers, that was a dream come true for a lot of us, and now we're speculating on whether or not they're going to reboot the X-Men or kind of just let it kind of roll out with the Dark Phoenix and then reboot it. But
I think they should just reboot it.
I agree too. I think there's no like potential beyond Dark Phoenix, knowing that they're already under the umbrella of Marvel Studios and what they could possibly do.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they've already shot it and it's going to come out, but you know, we've had like how many Spider-Mans? We've had like 9 Spider-Mans in the last 10 years,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
not
not
all
a
the Batmans, all the Supermans, like
it's not a crazy thought to just like reboot it right there.
And plus, the most recent installment of X-Men is disappointing.
But what we're going to do for this episode is we're going to cast our own X-Men under the umbrella of Marvel Studios. So mine obviously is going to be the Uncanny X-Men. It's probably the most ubiquitous and most notorious name attached to the X-Men.
What's the most iconic name for the X-Men?
Yeah, absolutely. And what is your title for the MCU X-Men?
Mine is gonna be the all-new X-Men. Just because I want just a new installment, fresh start, brand new canvas.
It could work. You know, it's simple. It's not playing any favors on any
and plus,
sides.
I couldn't really think of anything cooler, so just going with that.
All right, so we're gonna start with Professor Xavier. Who did you pick?
Professor X. I chose, and everybody has probably got this on their list as well. I have Mark Strong.
He was on my list too. I kind of wanted to give McAvoy another shot because he's getting older and he did look good with that bald look. But I eventually landed on Ralph Fiennes, and this is primarily because he was great in Hail Caesar. He was playing a director in that, and you could see how he could come off as some sort of leader and this kind of mentor figure.
Yeah,
and I loved him as Voldemort too.
Yeah, I just can't I can't picture Voldemort being Professor X, but he does have that glaring look, you know, within the eyes.
The eyebrows and stuff.
I like Mark Strong because his performance on The Imitation Game, he had all these facial nuances and body nuances while he was sitting. So that's why I thought he would be a really great Professor X just from the torso and up.
Okay, so next up is Eric Lenscher, Magneto. Who did you pick?
Magneto. Christoph Waltz.
Interesting.
He was awesome in Water for Elephants and obviously Inglourious Bastards. He has that devilish, his range for acting from being a silent villain to a notorious and crazy villain. I think
does make a great villain.
The psyche of Magneto fits perfectly well for him.
I picked Viggo Mortensen.
That is so good. That is too good.
When I was thinking of somebody for Eric
I'm really
Lenscher,
mad I didn't think of that.
When I was thinking of somebody for Eric Lenscher, I wanted someone of like an Eastern European type of flair.
Yeah.
And I thought back to Eastern Promises, his where he plays that mob boss or that mobster, and just his mannerisms and his look. He's got the jawline for Eric, and he's got the white hair.
And he's got that brooding like sense of hatred that you could just emanates from him, especially from Eastern Promises. I mean, like, he didn't have to like do much in that movie, but it was just all about his aura. And
if we envision a reboot, right, we would have to envision Charles and Eric acting opposite each other, right? So if we imagine Viggo Mortensen and Ralph Fiennes, or against Mark Strong, you would have a crazy dynamic to witness on the screen there.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Cyclops, the leader that's never gotten his due. All of the X-Men movies we've gotten so far have relegated that role to Wolverine.
Yeah.
And we've never gotten that Cyclops is like, sit your ass down, Wolverine. We're gonna go in this way.
You want a Cyclops that's a little bit more badass and like
I want
a little bit more of an asshole.
Not necessarily an asshole. I just want the leader. Like, Wolverine and Cyclops have always butt heads, right? And so I wanted someone who can maintain...
I see what you mean. He's always taking a back seat.
Yeah.
And taking an ass beating from somebody else.
Yeah, so I want him and Wolverine to have this dynamic where they can butt heads, but ultimately, Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men, and he has to have that kind of alpha alpha personality.
Who'd you pick?
I picked Mike Vogel. Primarily, it'll make more sense when I reveal my pick for Jean Grey, but he played an ex-Marine or an ex-Army vet named Barbie, who, under the circumstances of Under the Dome, took a really large role in making sure everybody was safe and evacuating everybody.
Okay.
And just taking a general leadership role in that disaster situation.
I feel like his features are too soft for me.
I mean, clean shaven he does.
Like really clean, kind of baby face for me.
But if we go back to the animated series, he's pretty baby face.
Yeah, but okay, so you want him to be a little bit more alpha, a little bit more rugged, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a little weird for me to picture him being more of that asshole.
Well, okay, so you might have to see him in action.
Right, I'm not too familiar with his work. I'm not too familiar with this guy's work too much, except for Vampire Diaries, and I don't even watch that show.
Yeah.
But the internet, I just like this guy's, like, just picture Ian Somerhalder. He's got these beautiful, piercing blue eyes, or green eyes, I have no idea, but they are insane. And just picturing his role in an X-Men movie where it's like destroyed, and it's like it's his most interesting feature on his face. Plus he's got like this really cool like 5 o'clock shadow stubble that's going on. He's got like this amazing pointy jawline that reminds me of the comic books, and so that's who I got.
It's actually quite coincidental because I do have him cast as someone else, and it will make sense once I reveal, because I do watch Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
And so I'm a little bit cued in on his personality traits and the way he plays his character Damon. But we'll get to that when I get to my casting. So let's move forward with Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
The telepath who's stronger than Charles Xavier and is Omega level in all sorts of ways. So I'll start with mine. I picked Rachelle Lefevre, who is also from Under the Dome.
I'm not familiar with her either.
But she also played Victoria in Twilight, the red-headed vampire.
Okay, yeah.
I picked her because she has obviously she's redheaded, and it's a recessive gene. We're losing these we're losing these people with redheads. But she acted great under the Dome. She actually towards the end of that series got powers, and I could just see Jean Grey in that show. And so she also had a natural chemistry with Mike Vogel, who was also on that show, and that's why I picked Mike Vogel as Cyclops. And eventually they hooked up, and they were a couple, and they, in the universe of fans who ship people together, they're like crazy popular with the fans of Under the Dome. Like, we've got her name in the show is Julia, and his name is Barbie, and we have like Julia and Barbie videos like out the wazoo on YouTube. And so I thought it would just be interesting to play on that dynamic.
So you're banking on their popularity of as a couple, bring that popularity into your movie.
Yeah, popularity from that, but also their inherent chemistry with each other.
Got it.
So we have Scott Summers and Jean Grey. They're always like, you know, like, pew, 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 like just always.
That's very
that
interesting.
couple.
I mean, I just saw her picture and like I just can't see it, man. Like she's got. I think her facial shape is a little too round for me.
So
of course, the comic books, everything's long. My pick is. Don't laugh. It's Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
I'm not gonna laugh. I thought she's a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Although I will have to echo you. I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, my direction for my own X-Men, my vision for X-Men is gonna be dark. It's gonna be like broody. It's gonna
Don't say gritty. Don't say gritty.
Action. But Kristen Stewart to me feels like somebody that can handle this dark Phoenix. Attachment to her character.
See that.
She's like really brooding. She doesn't have to like say much. I love the way her face, or the acting, the nuances of her facial expressions, like in all of the movies, especially the later ones where she's actually really, really good in them. So yeah, and she is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I can see. I mean, I can see her more subtle, or her more subdued performance. Mm-hmm. You know, lend very well to the Dark Phoenix character. I just don't see her playing very well with Ian Somerhalder. I think their styles are very clashing. But we're not here to argue about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's your pick. So let's move on to the next character. We have Storm, Aurora Monroe, the master of the elements, the weather manipulator of the X-Men. I picked. Okay, so I had 3 people that I was going between. I was going between Yaya DaCosta from Night Skies,
okay,
Gugu and Bathara from Cloverfield Paradox and Black Mirror, and Lupita Nyong'o.
Jeez,
it's
just choose already.
I mean. I eventually landed on Lupita Nyong'o because I had envisioned her with Storm's mohawk,
okay,
and with the lightning bolt earrings, and I think it's just she's spot on. She's African, but a lot of people don't know about Aurora is that she was born in Manhattan. You know, her mother was obviously an African princess, but
I feel like you took a peek into my selection and then finally got to yours on this one.
No, not at all.
Denai Guerrera, who's also in Black Panther.
I didn't pick her because of Black Panther.
Anyway, I like Denai because she has her own beauty. She's not like you know, her facial structure, her body. I mean, it's strong. And, you know, the things that she did in The Walking Dead and how she portrayed herself in action sequences in Black Panther, I was just, like, blown away by her performance in that movie in particular. And I think she would bring, like, a different type of Storm.
Now that we mentioned Black Panther, Lupita did play.
She was great. She
played T'Challa's love interest. And who's T'Challa's love interest in X-Men? Storm.
Ooh.
So, moving on to the next person. That's cool. Moving on to the next character, we have Jubilee. I think we're both in agreement here.
Yeah.
Lana Condor from Apocalypse.
Yeah.
She didn't get very much, you know, in terms of lines or anything.
I wouldn't mind seeing her, you know, portray this character more because, like, apart from like the small scenes that she had in that movie and that, you know, that commercial that was shot for the movie to promote it, was it to promote it or was it just part of the movie?
I'm not sure.
Either or, it wasn't enough for me to move on to somebody else. You know, I had Jamie Chung as one, but like she's already in The Gifted, so
that's true. That's true. She's Blink.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to see more of her.
I think her look and the way
she's the right age.
She's the right age, and
she would be a kid to these guys. She seems to
have the right, you know, body language and the way she moved. I'd like to see her do that.
I think she looked just like Jubilee in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And like I saw a deleted scene of her using her powers in the arcade, and I was just like blown away. It's like why did they cut that?
Give you a rematch?
I don't have any more quarters.
I got it.
So we have her. We're both in agreement on that one. She should continue her role. Moving on to our next character, we have Rogue Marie, the most controversial character probably in all of the franchise going back to 2001.
Yeah.
I mean, how long have we wanted her to just fly and just slam the Sentinels and body slam Juggernaut?
You know, that movie with Anna Paquin, she messed that role up. I mean, I can't get over it. I would love to see another rendition of Rogue, a different Rogue, and my choice would be, it's unconventional, but I would like to see Hailee Steinfeld play that part. Hailee Steinfeld, she has that like really exotic look, and she also looks like she can portray like a strong woman character, but at the same time has that youth, that kind of naivete that a youthful character would carry, and I think Rogue has that.
I can see that. It's just, for my pick, I picked Lauren Cohan from Walking Dead. If you've seen her in Van Wilder, you can see that she can play a very promiscuous character. If you've seen her in Walking Dead, you can see that she plays a really strong woman as well.
Yeah.
But also she has that look, and from Walking Dead, she has that Southern belle charm. Like, she has that accent down.
So our next character is Gambit. You know what? I've gone back and forth with him being a favorite character of mine, between him, Cyclops, and then Wolverine, and then back to him. And then when Gambit and Rogue were like in this romantic like journey in the comic books, and fuck, he's just awesome with those cards, and the bow staff used to be one of my favorite weapons, and so I was just naturally drawn to him. But my pick for Gambit is Ben Barnes.
Interesting.
He's got this awesome, just this awesome cocky like nuance, and the way he carries himself, like in Westworld, like that guy is a douche. He's like a big asshole, but so is Gambit. Gambit has that personality where he strolls around. Yeah, he strolls around with that kind of manner. So he's also got like this really long, strong jawline, and his hair is like perfect for Gambit.
Right. So I picked Ian Somerhalder for this. You picked him for Cyclops.
Yeah.
I picked him for
I can see
Gambit.
him as Gambit as well, yeah.
But primarily because of his work in Vampire Diaries. His character Damon is just this bad boy anti-hero, and that's like it's like the perfect explanation for Gambit. He's the bad boy anti-hero. He has a strong jawline, and he's got piercing eyes, as you said, which would lend very well to his mutant powers.
Yeah.
And he just looks like Gambit. He also has wild hair too.
Exactly. Yeah. I can see that.
And his age matches up really well with Lauren Cohan, so I could see a romance sparking there between the two, with Gambit and Rogue, and that's it, man.
Our next character is Beast, and my pick for that is The Rock. You know, The Rock he cannot do anything wrong right now.
He can't.
He's got the size, he's got the intellect, he's got the acting chops. I mean, if you watch him in Ballers, like, he can make anything sound like $1 million.
I agree, he has the range.
And then if you watch him in Rampage or in any of these action movies, he's built for it as well.
I'm going to kind of stop you. I'm going to give it to you, but he's Black Adam in DC.
Not yet.
Not yet, but they're
doesn't
filming.
Exist yet, so
they're filming. But
anything can happen.
But still, man, he's got to play Hank McCoy. And my solution for this, I picked Dan Stevens, who has already played a Beast in Beauty and the Beast. I know he played Legion, but they acquired Fox and all their properties, and that's soon to be moot. So Dan Stevens, he can play a brilliant scientist in Hank McCoy, and then they can CG his Beast form, just like they did in Beauty and the Beast.
Another scrawny guy to play somebody bigger.
It's not going to be scrawny, because if you see Beauty and the Beast, he's hulking.
Yeah, it's all CG.
And so like I want to position him as the X-Men's Hulk. Like, he's supposed to be super strong and super agile in his form, and you're right, it wouldn't do well to have a scrawny person. And just having Dan Stevens play Hank McCoy that side, and also lend to mocap Beast, I think that would be the best way to go to handling Beast moving forward. I don't think you can slap on blue fur and paint their face blue and just have a Beast. It would work for The Rock because he's already big, but I don't see him playing Hank McCoy.
Yeah, I guess if The Rock was in my movie, it'd be all about Beast. I mean, he would be the lead actor in that movie just because he demands so. And last but not least, Wolverine. Wolverine.
He's the best there is at what he does, and what he does is not very nice. So my pick for Wolverine is Richard Armitage. He is currently voicing Wolverine in the Long Night audio show for Stitcher, and he sounds like Logan.
Sometimes I wake up naked in the woods with a taste of blood in my mouth, blood on my hands, my brain pulsing. And I think, what have you done, Logan?
It's just like a perfect match.
I don't know, like he kind of looks like a softer version of Hugh Jackman. I don't know, like I can't see it. His voice for sure, like his voice is like deep, rumbly, like it. I agree with you. He does sound like Logan, but I guess I haven't seen Armitage enough on the screen, like bulked up or whatever, or some action sequences.
So who was your original pick for Wolverine?
John Bernthal.
Okay. Now,
you can just picture it. Like, what he does.
If we talk.
God, that would be the perfect Wolverine.
If we talk about voice, man, he grunts and he does the
that's fucking
but
Wolverine.
that's not Wolverine, man. It's not a growl.
That is,
he needs to growl.
No, but that is Berserker mode Wolverine.
It needs to be a growl. He needs to go not oh my God. He can't. He gotta.
You guys gotta let us know who would win this debate. I ended up going with Kit Harington, just because. He's not that tall. He's like around 5'8", so it's proportionately like around kind of where Wolverine would be. I think in the comics Wolverine was like 5 something or
5'3".
Yeah, something like that. But picturing him being bulked up, you could just see him in Game of Thrones where he's like got all the stuff all around him and his hair, and he just gets all dirty. Battle of the Bastards was just the one thing that I kept looking at. You know, it was just awesome the way he performed in that episode. So. I got Kit Harington.
Yeah, I mean, he looks the part theoretically. I will say one thing. He's supposed to be 150 years old, and Kit Harington still looks like a baby underneath all that.
Well, that's how I feel about Armitage. Like, Armitage doesn't look...
I would pick someone that...
young as well.
I would pick someone that looks aged at least, because, I mean, Richard Armitage is 4 years younger than Hugh. It's got to be somebody that's lived at least a full life.
A full life.
Alright, that'll wrap up our fan cast of MCU's X-Men. Leave us a comment in the comment section below. Let us know whose cast won, whose cast was better. And let us know also if there's any mutants we missed and who you think should play them. But until next time... my cast is better.
No, I think my cast is better. Just remember, John Bernthal. Oh, Berserker mode!